Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, November 4th, 2022. My name is Barry Cowan. I am the host of this meeting. Assisting me will be our guest presenter today, Jerry Rogan. Thank you for also being a presenter as well as a co-host. I appreciate it very much. Obviously, we've got the midterms to consider on Tuesday, but since we're not a political group, of course, I will let you know that on Sunday at 2 a.m., we're going back to Eastern Standard Time. So if you have a area that needs to make adjustments for that, fine. Other than that, next time you'll get an hour's extra sleep effective to next Sunday. So turn all of your timing devices back 1 hour before you go to bed Saturday night or early Sunday morning. And then, of course, the computer devices will probably do that automatically. If you turn them off and turn them on, you'll see that the conversion has already been accomplished. It's been 2 weeks have just gone by so fast. In fact, this whole year for me has gone by so fast. Having recovered from COVID now, I think I could say I'm pretty much along the way. I'm going to continue to do Zoom classes. I'm sure that's what everybody wants to do. The pandemics are raging and the variants are coming out now. I can't even get a shot until a couple of more months, because once you've had the COVID, you get the ability to have antibodies already in your system from having it and recovery. Anyway, we still got the flu and all other great stuff. So given that, I think that we have a great presentation today from an excellent presenter. iOS 16 came out on my birthday, September 12th, when I was 79, and I didn't realize it had 300 or 400 features in it, and it's really hard to do even a course on it under those circumstances. But today's guest speaker, who will introduce himself and then begin his presentation, has an expert grip on the knowledge. From what I've spoken to him numerous times, and he's another club president. Well, he'll tell you all about that. So let's give a warm welcome to today's special guest and presenter, Jerry Rogan.
Yay!
Okay, we're going to mute everybody. Let's mute everybody, please, except for myself. And Jerry, when you're ready, share your screen.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. From Mesa, Arizona, where I'm about 3 hours behind you. So I don't want to hear about how tired you are. Hey, listening to your conversation earlier, a few things I want to talk about first. Somebody mentioned the SE and you're quite happy with it, and that's great. But you do need to know that the SE, well, it's a smaller phone, which is nice, but it also doesn't have all of the features that the 12 and 13 and 14 have. So if you're looking for some of the health features, the blood oxygen and all that sort of thing, I don't believe the SE has those features. Helene, is that how you pronounce your name? As far as I didn't think you said you had the SE. Because when you're buying these new phones, I know price is a consideration, but make sure you get the features you want. And as seniors, I think the health features are extremely critical. So. Okay.
And away we go.
We're going to talk about iOS 16 today. And as Barry said, there's 200 or 300 enhancements. So we're going to spend the next 7 hours talking about that. I'm kidding. What I've done is put a presentation together. It's going to cover the more popular features of iOS 16 and iPad OS 16. One of the things I want to mention, I don't know how many of you have already upgraded, but before you upgrade, you want to make sure you back up your system using, if you can, the iCloud backup. I've got mine set up where every time I plug my phone in, it automatically that night will back up to the iCloud. And I'm paying 99 cents a month for 50 gigabyte of storage. So I don't think you can beat that, but I really don't think you should upgrade unless you do have some type of backup of your system, just in case. By a show of hands, how many of you have already backed up? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. It's very important to do that, so keep that in mind.
Jerry, tell us a little bit
Okay.
about yourself, please, before we go to the presentation.
Well, I'm the last guy I want to talk about. I was a computer engineer in the U.S. Air Force, a programmer, technician. When I got out of the Air Force, I started a software company is specializing in industrial software and security software. After a few years, a company in Milwaukee bought me out. And I had to work for him as national sales manager for 2 years as part of the buyout. And then I retired. That lasted 3 weeks. I got a job as the CEO of another software company from England, except I was the CEO of their North American operation. So I've been banging my head against computers a long time. And looking at some of your pictures, I'm going to guess some of you are approaching my age. When I started in computers, we didn't even have monitors. We had teletype machines and key punch operators and all that sort of thing. So been knocking around this stuff for a long time. It doesn't make me a genius. It just makes me old. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. About the presentation today, I'm going to talk while I'm doing this. Where did it go? All right, let me launch it and get it back up. The presentation today is a PowerPoint presentation. And I see it here, but Barry, all of a sudden it's disappeared from sharing my screen.
Wow.
And maybe it's there.
Okay.
Do you see it?
No.
Okay.
Let me see if I have share screen enabled. That could be the problem here. No.
There it is. I got it.
Okay, good.
I got it.
All right.
Okay, I do this in PowerPoint format. I was telling Barry earlier. There's a lot of information here, and I'm going to talk a bit during each slide. But the reason I do it this way is that when the meeting is over, I will send Barry a PDF document of my presentation, so you can refer back to perhaps some of the links I give you and so forth. So as we go through this, I'm going to explain features that most people like. I won't be doing a live demonstration until after the presentation. If you'd like to see me do some of that on my iPhone, I can certainly do that. So, okay, off we go. iOS 16 supports the iPhone 8 and later. And I heard some of you say you have the 6 and so forth. Probably not supported by iPhone or iOS 16. iPad OS 16 supports the iPad Pro models, the 3rd generation iPad Air and later, the 5th generation iPad and later, and the 5th generation iPad Mini and later. So if you have an iPad older than that, it will not be supported by iPad OS 16. I think maybe this is Apple's new way of forcing us to update every couple of years. Now, just because your device will support iOS 16 or iPad OS 16 doesn't mean it supports all of the features. Some features require an upgraded processor and so forth. So as I say, just because you can get iOS 16, you may not be able to get everything that I may talk about today. I do want to first talk about the iPhone 14 because it is the latest, and according to Apple, the greatest. For what it's worth, I'm still using my iPhone 12. It is a modest upgrade compared to the 13, and the 13 was a modest upgrade compared to the 12. But the iPhone 14 has an always-on display. I've got that on my Apple Watch. I turn it off. It kind of bothers me. When I want to see it, I'll just touch it. But that's available on iPhone 14. And the little notch at the top of your iPhone where the little cameras are hidden at the top, Apple has replaced that on the iPhone 14 with what they call a dynamic island. And we're going to talk about the dynamic island a little later in the presentation. The iPhone 14 also has crash detection. The new crash detection feature uses sensors inside the phone to tell when you've been in an automobile accident and call emergency services. If you're in the accident and you're not able to call emergency services and you don't respond to the message on your phone, Apple will call emergency services for you. A little bit like the fall detection on the Apple Watch. They also have an action mode. Action mode is available in the camera app that smooths out shaky video that may be taken while you're walking or riding in a car, what have you. Your phone will shake and your video will shake. Action mode will take care of that. Again, iPhone 14 only. And one other feature is the emergency SOS via satellite. When you don't have a Wi-Fi or cellular service, you can send a text message via satellite. That's not available until sometime this month, and it'll be free for 2 years. And another revenue generating thing for Apple will be that they're going to charge a subscription after 2 years. Okay, we talked a little bit about the dynamic island, replacing the notch at the top of your phone. The dynamic island displays the live activity notification type, such as the track in music that's playing, how long you've been on a phone call, how much time is left on a timer. You can tap Dynamic Island to see or to open that app and touch, or touch and hold it to see more options. I don't have this feature. I don't think I need it. Maybe a lot like you folks that way. But if you look on the screen on the right, you'll look at the top of the screen, you'll see, it'll tell you who you're talking to, how long you've talked. It'll tell you what music is playing and so forth. And if you touch it, that window will open up to like a notification thing on the app that you're looking at. So
That seems to be a battery drainer.
Yes, it's a battery drainer, and I think so is the always-on display. Maybe that'll be the next thing. Maybe Apple will sell us a subscription to maintain our batteries when they get all this stuff put on the phones. We'll see. Anyway, that's iPhone 14. Upcoming and turn-by-turn map directions, incoming phone call and duration of the call, and so forth. On the left side of the screen, you'll see what some of the background activities are. I expect in the future that list will grow substantially. On the right side of the screen, the display outputs and alerts are Apple Pay transaction confirmations, privacy indicators, when a microphone or camera is in use, AirDrop, file transfers, and the list kind of goes on and on. Again, and I don't know how many of you have an iPhone 14, but this is something that's on the iPhone 14 only at this time. By the way, if any of you have any questions, if you can hold them until the end of the presentation, or if you can't remember it that long, go ahead and click on chat and just put it in the chat box, and we'll get to it when we're done with the presentation. I'll let Barry be in charge of the chat room. Okay, that covered the iPhone 14. Now, these are some other new features in iOS 16 that some of them I'm going to talk about, some of them I'm not. But if you look in the top left, it'll say multi-stop routing. On Apple Maps, you can now do multi-stop routing. I happen to like that because I do travel around the country quite a bit. So sometimes I like to go from, last year I went from Mesa, Arizona. I wanted to go to Winslow, Arizona, so I could stand on the corner and get my picture taken. I'm an old Eagles fan. But then from there, I wanted to go somewhere else. The multi-stop featuring would have been a very nice feature to have. Shared photo library, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Next generation of CarPlay. Yeah, I don't see where they've changed an awful lot with CarPlay, and I do use that quite a bit. Lift subject from background. I am going to talk about that. That's one of the features, whether you see the Dalmatian, that's one of the features that came out with iOS 16.1. Apple didn't seem to brag about it at all. And some of the groups I've talked to and some of my friends think that's one of the best features of iOS 16. So, and there's notification views and widgets on the lock screen. If you look at the lower right, it'll say Monday, June 6th, and it'll show a bunch of things underneath the time. We're going to talk quite a bit about the lock screen today. Filter by focus, we're going to talk about focus a little bit as well. So yeah, we can't talk about the 200 or 300 changes, but I'm going to talk about the most popular ones. But here's a list of some of the iOS 16 major features. Now, the Apple Map supports multi-stop routing. I love that. The Health app on your Apple phone, it's a little white icon with the red heart in the center. They now have medication tracking. And I'm only going to talk about it here, but you create a medications list to keep track of your medications, vitamins, and supplements. And then you also put in what time of day you want to take these medications. Your iPhone will come up at that time and remind you to take that medication, which I find invaluable. I have to take one pill in the middle of the day and I constantly forget it. So I like that. The other thing it will do is it will give you an interaction reference. One of the pills I'm on, probably a lot of you are too, is gabapentin. Well, it popped right up and says, don't take gabapentin with alcohol. To that, I kind of say, keep the gabapentin, I'll have my drink. But so it does things like that. The Apple Health app has received some nice upgrades that you'll want to look at. The Fitness app is now available for all iPhone users, even if you don't have an Apple Watch. And of course, the Fitness is a subscription program from Apple. Face ID now works in landscape on supported phone models. As I said, if you download iOS 16, you're not going to have all of these features depending on the age of your phone. FaceTime now supports handoff. I like that a lot. If I'm in my car, or not in my car, but let's say I'm doing something in part of the house and I get a FaceTime call, I can answer it on my iPhone and then go to my living room, pick up my iPad and immediately transfer that call from my phone to my iPad so I have a larger view. And I like that. And you can do that with the Mac as well. Notes now allow you to lock notes behind your iPhone passcode. Sometimes we use that Notes application. We might type things that we don't want everybody to see. Well, we can now click on that or right click on it, brings up a menu so we can say, hide this note behind my iPhone passcode. I do hope all of you use an iPhone passcode. So if somebody else picks up your phone, they can't get into it. The Music app now supports favoriting different artists and bands as well as new playlists. I don't listen to a lot of music. If I do it with my Alexa. Live text now supports videos. Text is completely interactive when in pause video frames. So you can do things like copy and paste and so forth. iOS 16 can instantly remove the background from any image, allowing you to effortlessly lift the subject from the background of the image and put it on some other document. I am going to go into how to do that and give you a demonstration of that. The Mail app now supports scheduled send and undo send for the first time. So if you send a message or you type a message, but you don't want it sent for 6 hours or 6 days or 6 weeks, you can now do that. And once you send a message, you also have the ability to unsend it. We're going to talk about that a little later too, because there are some caveats there that we want to know about. And you can now enable haptic feedback for the system keyboard. Of course, haptic feedback is the vibration you'll feel. All right, woo, we got through that. Now we're going to take a closer look at some of the best features on iOS 16. The new lock screen customization options, the new message features of undo, send, and editing messages, privacy and security. We're going to talk a little bit about passkeys, notifications in iOS 16. We're going to talk about quite a little bit here. Some of the new lock screen features. If you look at the screen on the left, it looks like our old lock screen with a photograph on it. The screen in the middle, you'll see a different background, the date and time. But below that, you're going to see temperature and activity rings and so forth. I'm going to show you how to put those on your phone. And the screen on the right will show you an activity notification on the bottom of the screen. It'll tell you you've got an order in progress and so forth. It may tell you scores for various athletic events, whatever you want down there. So I got to move something here. So customizing lock screens. Here are 3 lock screens. And I'm going to talk about these in detail a little bit, because this is what I'm told and what I see most of the people use on iOS 16, and it's what Apple touted quite a lot. The screen on the left will show you the date, time. It'll have a little event notification underneath that. And you can add other widgets underneath the time. The center screen, the same thing, except it shows you how you can change the color and font for your time. And the screen on the right shows a little bit larger widget. Shows the date, temperature, and so forth. Okay, to get to the point to do all of this, you go to your settings, select wallpaper, and click on customize, and then tap whatever widget is you want to change. Or an easier way for us old timers, when you're on your lock screen, simply long press the lock screen and the customization screen will pop right up. So you can go through settings, wallpaper, customize, blah, 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 or you can just long press, put your thumb on the screen during your lock screen and just hold it down. Customization will appear. These screens are going to show you how I use my lock screens. This is my daily lock screen, and I have the time and date, but I also have my activity rings and the stock market, so I can see how much money I'm going to lose today versus what I lost yesterday. This is my driving lock screen. When I'm in the car, I don't want to be distracted. So all I see is the date and time. And this is my do not disturb lock screen. So if I'm laying in bed and I want to see the time or I want to see the temperature outside, I can do that. Now, I also on that screen, I've got air quality index and I've got wind speed. I happen to be an outside bike rider. So I do want to know the wind particularly, but I also want to know the air quality. An alternative method, you go to settings and focus and select choose under the customize screens. So when you are in your lock screens, you can go to settings and focus, and you can add whatever focus you want. I've chosen 3: my daily lock screen, my driving lock screen, and do not disturb. There's some other options there. I can't remember what they're all called, personal and so forth. But it's nice that these change automatically. Depending on if I get in my car and I start my car, my driving lock screen automatically comes on. If I go to bed at 10:30, my do not disturb comes on. Oh, by the way, my daily lock screen, that happened to be a lighthouse I went to this summer up in northern Minnesota. But that picture will change every hour. And I've got about 12 pictures on there with my kids' photographs, my grandkids, and so forth. So that picture, you can set that to change every hour, and you couldn't do that with the previous operating system. Lock screen live activities notifications. This is what comes up on the bottom of your screen. The live screen notifications will automatically appear on your lock screen, but only when there's a relevant real-time information to show you. However, each application works differently with the new features. For example, you're looking here at the Colorado Rockies and San Francisco Giants baseball game. If that game ended, that notification would automatically disappear. If you want to track a flight, Apple's got a thing they call Flighty, and the link is here. When you get the PDF of this presentation, you'll be able to see that link and type it in if you want. But if you're tracking a particular flight, that notification will only be on while that aircraft is in the air. If you're using slopes to go skiing, live activities appears for as long as you're tracking your performance in the background. If you use Uber, which is not available at the moment, but the lock screen will notify you when you order a ride and close when you're at your destination, so you can see if the driver's coming to pick you up or what have you. Live activity setup. You set this up, you go to settings, scroll down and tap face ID and password code. Scroll down again until you reach the allow access when locked section. Tap the toggle next to live activities to the on position, and you're all set. Now to use it, you go to settings and scroll down to the app you want it to use. So let's say we're going down to Flighty, the flight tracker. You would go down to Flighty under settings, click on the app, and then turn on live activities for that particular application. And some of these apps right now, anyway, the apps have to be running in the background in order for live activities to work. I guess it's a nice feature. There are not a lot of applications that use that right now, but I'm sure that list will also grow significantly. Okay, iMessage features. This is kind of a biggie. You can now undo send in messages. You can unsend messages. This is important too. You can unsend messages within 2 minutes of sending it. So it's not unlimited. You've got 2 minutes to unsend it. And it only works if the recipient is running iOS 16, iPad OS 16, or Mac OS 13 Ventura. It also only works with iMessage. So if you're messaging an Apple user who has downloaded iOS 16, you can use unsend. If you're texting an Android user, there is no unsend. So there are some caveats there that we need to be careful of, and I'm pretty sure those will change in time. To unsend the message, what you do is you just touch and hold in the chat window. Put your finger on the message and just hold it for a second or two. The undo send message menu will appear. The same applies for edit messages. If you send a message and you say, oh, I shouldn't have said that, instead of, or I shouldn't have said it that way, instead of unsending a message entirely, you can instead edit the message for up to 15 minutes after you send it. You can edit a message up to 5 times. Touch and hold the message again on the message window, wait till the menu shows up and select edit message. Now, on the edit messages, the person who's getting the message will see where you've changed things. So if you did misspell something or whatever, you can edit it, but the person you sent that to will see that edit. And finally, this is a long-awaited thing too. You can recover deleted messages. And I don't know about you guys, but I wish I had a nickel for every time I wanted that feature. But you can now, on the menu, when you select, you hold down the message, the menu comes up, you select edit messages, you can then recover deleted messages. You have 30 days to recover deleted messages. When you hold down the message, this is the menu that will pop up. So you can undo send, you can edit, you can copy it, you can translate it to a different language and so forth. I think the changes they made to a message are quite nice. If I could take away the restrictions that it has to be going to somebody with iOS 16 and so forth. Okay, mail features. Missing recipient and attachment notifications. I don't know that I've ever done this, but if your mail will warn you if you've forgotten a recipient address or if you forgot to include an attachment. So for example, if you wrote, I'm copying blah, blah, blah on this, or I've attached a document and it thinks you've forgotten an address or an attachment, you'll see a pop-up menu warning you of that. I have to tell you that yesterday's the first time I actually saw that pop up, and I didn't forget anything. I just had to click cancel and it went away and sent the message. I think it said send anyway. I clicked on send anyway and the mail was gone. Scheduled send. I like this feature a lot. So you type an email to someone, but you don't want to send it till a later time. Instead of tapping the send button, you press and hold it. Again, the send button. You press the send button and hold it, and a menu will appear letting you enter a send time. And you can also undo a send in mail. After sending a message, you'll have 10 seconds to undo. That's not a lot of time if you think about it. But after sending a message, you have 10 seconds to undo the send by tapping undo send at the bottom of the toolbar. That will reopen the message and then you can cancel it out. Again, 10 seconds is pretty restrictive. But if you hold down that blue send button, this menu will show up and you can see you can send it now, you can send it at 9 p.m. tonight, or you can send it later. And if you select send later, another screen will pop up where you can choose the date, the time, and so forth that you want it sent. I can see where that might be nice to, for example, Barry may type up his invitation earlier in the month for your meetings, and then he can say, okay, I want this sent on this date. He doesn't have to worry about it. It will be sent without him worrying about it. So I do think that's a really nice feature. iCloud shared photo library. And here's how Apple describes it. I'm going to read for a minute. iCloud Shared Photo Library gives families a new way to share photos seamlessly with a separate iCloud library that you can have up to 6 users can collaborate on, contribute to, and enjoy. I like to share some of my photos with my grandchildren and my kids and my granddaughter and so forth. This is an excellent way to do it. A user can also choose to send photos to the shared library automatically using a new toggle in the camera app. So when you take the picture, if you chose, that picture can automatically be sent to whoever you're sharing with. Users will receive intelligent suggestions to share a photo that includes participants in the shared photo library. Every user in the shared photo library has access to add, delete, okay, pay attention now, add, delete, edit, or favorite the shared photos or videos, which will appear in each user's memories and featured photos. I don't necessarily want too many people to be able to delete my photographs. So keep that in mind as well. To turn on iCloud Shared Photo Library, you go to Settings on your iPhone, swipe down and choose Photos. Under Shared Library, tap Setup, and then tap Get Started. Then you choose if you want to invite others now or later. Choose what you want to include in the shared library. Preview the shared library if you'd like. Send your invitations for others to join. And choose if you want automatic or manual sharing from the camera. And tap Done. And it may take some time for the process to update and be fully working. So it won't, when you go through this setup, don't look for it to, as soon as you exit setup, don't look for it to work. It does take a little bit of time. This is what the screens look like when you're going through that setup process. You can select the people you want to share it with. You can say share automatically or share manually, or share when at home. Pretty intuitive screens. You shouldn't have any issues with that at all. But I do like that you can turn it on and you can turn it off. So if I'm on vacation and I want my kids to see certain pictures I take, I'll turn it on and I'll share it with them. When my vacation is over, I may come in and turn sharing off, so they don't have access to my full photo library. It's a nice feature. This is one that Apple didn't talk about very much when they were promoting iOS 16. And iOS 16 was promoted for 6 months before it came out. But it's the iOS 16 photo cutout. And I have learned, not only myself, but my friends love this feature. So I'm going to show it to you. Okay, I'm going to use a photo of me just this past Halloween where I had two of my great granddaughters come over. And I don't normally have a beard, but I started growing it about a month ago just for the Halloween, so I could get with my great granddaughters trying to make memories. So this is the picture I took. And as you can see, there's pretty busy in the background. Part of my kitchen cabinets and some stained glass windows I made and a stained glass lamp I made and so forth. It really, that background draws away from the photo. So here's the original photo on the left. And what you do is just simply take your finger and hold down on the subject that you want to lift from the background. So in this case, I held my finger on my chest and a white cloud, you can see a white cloud go around the entire image. When that white cloud appeared, that told me that the subject I wanted has been lifted from the background, and I can now copy it. A copy message will show up. And once it's copied, you can paste it wherever you want. The photo on the right is what I lifted from the photo on the left. And if I send an email to my great grandkids, and believe me, they're only 5 and 9. They know more about the Apple than I do, I think. I call them my tech support group. That's a nice feature, especially if you want to use an image like this on a Christmas card or on your mailing return labels, whatever you want to do. It's a nice feature to remove that background. Okay, you've heard a little bit about the iOS 16 passkey. What are they and how do they work? This is a security feature. Passkeys are unique digital keys. Remember the word digital keys. Stored on your device, designed to replace passwords. They are end-to-end encrypted. They work with Touch ID and Face ID and use Apple's iCloud keychain technology to sync across all of your Apple devices. Passkeys are also linked to the app or website they were created for. So phishing attacks cannot trick you into using them to sign on into a fake app or website. In other words, with passkeys, you get more secure and almost instant access to your app and website accounts without the need to remember and use any passwords. Think of the passkey as you might a safe deposit box. And I don't know how many of you have a safe deposit box, but it takes two keys to open the box. One that's in your possession and the other one that is in the bank's possession. Well, when you use passkey on Apple, each account or website will have a different key for both you and them. This makes it extremely secure and it does not require a password. So what I'm saying is if you go onto Facebook using passkey, you have a key stored on your device. Facebook has a key stored under your name on their end. Both keys have to go in and turn on, and then you'll be presented with Facebook. But if I go to my bank account and I try to use that same key, it won't work. So the passkey only works, number one, if you have iOS 16 on your iPhone. And if that website you're going to or the account you're going to also has passkey set up from Apple. And right now, that's a fairly short list. If the website or app you want to sign into does not support passkeys, you have to type in your password the old-fashioned way. Currently, only a few websites support passkey, and only some of them use it as a primary login step. So they may have passkey, but they're not yet to the point where they automatically will recognize that. However, we suppose that the internet will slowly adopt passkey technology. It's also very probable that Apple will eventually make them a mandatory option for the App Store, for App Store apps, all apps that are stored in the App Store. Just like how we did with the login with the Apple feature. Now, if you're wondering which sites currently support passkey, a Reddit user published a list, and I apologize for the small type. But right now, these are the only people that support passkey. By the way, Apple did go into, I'm going to say into cahoots. You probably have, that's a Midwestern term. But anyway, Apple did go in this agreement of passkey with Microsoft and with Google. So with the three major players signed on board with passkey, look for this list just to explode. But right now, these are the people who will accept passkey. AOL, Best Buy, Dropbox, Facebook. Some of these I never, GoDaddy, which of course is a website hosting, Google, Microsoft, Twitter. I don't know if Twitter will anymore now that Musk has his hands on, but, and Yahoo, there's so Zoho, I never heard of some of these, but that list, as I say, probably daily will continue to grow. Passkeys is here to stay for now. I think it'll be here for a number of years, but today it's extremely limited. All right, iPad OS 16 The main feature, now everything we've talked about so far is available on the iPad as well as the iPhone. iPad OS 16 has another feature that Apple is really touting. I think they're touting it too soon from my experience. But anyway, it's called Stage Manager, and it can only be used by iPad Air 5th generation, iPad Pro 12.9-inch 3rd generation or later, and the iPad Pro 11-inch 1st generation or later. Again, this, I believe from what I've seen, Apple could have made this available to almost all iPads. And I think this is the way that they're trying to force us to say, okay, well, I've only got a iPad Air 3rd generation, I better upgrade. My personal opinion. So anyway, Stage Manager is a new way to multitask on iPad Pro, blah, blah, blah. Overlapping and resizable windows allow you to adjust the size of your apps and arrange your ideal workspace. Recent apps arranged on the left side of the screen allow you to quickly switch between apps. I saw quite a few photos of you guys while we were chatting. I can't imagine there's a lot of us who need to have 5 different programs running at the same time so we can instantly change between them. But that's what Stage Manager does. And I'm not knocking anybody because of their age. Maybe some of you you need that. Stage Manager feature brings limited floating window multitasking to iPads, just like on your Mac. You can move and resize the windows. However, Stage Manager windows are a little different in that what you might be used to. For instance, there are no red, yellow, or green buttons in the top left of the screen to control the windows. Now, apps are arranged in groups, and you can have a total of 5 groups, and you can have a total of 4 windows open at once. If you look at this image on the left side of the screen, you're going to see 4 icons there. Those are 4 groups that can be used for multitasking. And each group can have up to 5 apps in it, but only 4 windows can be displayed at any one time. I don't happen to have an iPad that this works on, so I borrowed one and I played with it a little bit. And I can tell you, and numerous other people on the internet can tell you, Stage Manager is not ready for prime time. Stage Manager is also the reason that iPad OS 16 came out a month after iOS 16. They were trying to clean it up a little bit, and I think they still rushed it out the door. But if any of you need to have several things on the screen at one time, I think Stage Manager is going to be the answer. I think it's just going to take a little bit more time to get there. The other thing Stage Manager will do, it will allow you to have another external display. So you've got these 4 windows open on your screen. It is possible you can put 2 of those windows on a remote display or an external display and leave 2 on your iPad. So I think that's kind of critical. And I mentioned Stage Manager also adds proper external monitor support with app windows on the external monitor independent of the iPad display. Now it does say, unfortunately, Stage Manager is available only on iPads with the M series processors. I believe they've changed that now to include the iPads that I told you about. You will use an external keyboard and pointing device to use an external monitor. Using an external monitor effectively doubles how many sets of app groups you can have open at one time. I get a kick when I go like to the doctor's office and the receptionist is sitting there and she's got 3 screens in front of her. That just amazes me. I can't look at that much at one time. So anyway, if you look at the image on this screen, you'll see you've got 3 different windows open there, so you can resize them and see what's going on. So if you find it important to have your email and messages and some other app open at one time, you can certainly do that. Now, I'm going to leave you with a couple of iOS 16 links that I think really help. But the first one I want to talk about is www.takecontrolbooks.com/catalog. Take Control Books write books on a number of different subjects. One of them is iOS 16 and iPad OS 16. They're excellent manuals. That particular book costs $14.99. You buy it, you download it as a PDF, and it's invaluable. Anything that out of the 200 or 300 modifications that iOS 16 gave us, they are all covered in this manual. So I think www.takecontrolbooks.com is an important link. I also bought a book from them on the iWatch, and they don't miss a trick. And I know my iWatch inside and out, and I've looked at their books, and they don't miss a trick. And if there's an upgrade, like when 16.1 came out on iOS, they sent me a notification so I could download an upgraded book to see what changed in iOS 16.1. So that's an important link. And I don't work for them and I don't get commission, but I am impressed with their product. And here are a few other links. The Apple Toolbox, 16 tips and tricks, Tom's Guide, 16 essential, it means iOS 16, by the way, tips and tricks. Those last three links offer excellent visual instruction on how to do certain things with iOS 16. When you get the PDF of this presentation, of course, you'll have these links available to you. Okay, this concludes my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, let's give Jerry a sitting ovation. Excellent job, Jerry. Thank you. We have
Thank
some
you.
things in the chat. So one person, Steve, says, is undo only for iOS for iPhone 14.
No.
I have one question.
Undo send and undo messages. Any phone that can have iOS 16 has that feature.
Raise your hand on that, Bernie. Just hit your raise hand icon. That will help. Okay. Steve, did you get your question answered?
No, it wasn't answered because when I pressed on the message, I got a different box. It didn't include unsend. It had just only 4 options. It wasn't sent.
Okay. And what model iPhone do you have?
12 Max Pro.
It should have worked.
Yeah, I've got
I
a
use
13
iPhone.
Max and it works.
No.
Yeah, I've got just an iPhone 12 and it works on mine.
Yeah, 13 Pro
Alright.
Max works.
Well, I only had the box that came up with 4 options and not the 6 that I saw that gave you the undo, option.
Okay, well, if you didn't get the undo option, it's very possible that time frame expired before you got to it.
No, I was right on it. I did it the second after I posted it. I tried to undo it, and that's what I got.
Okay, let's hear Marcia. You have a question, and then we'll go to Bernie.
Yeah, is it advisable to, at this point, download the iOS 16 for an iPad? I have an iPad, 8th generation.
Yeah, you have an iPhone 10?
My iPhone, I'm not talking about. My
Okay.
iPhone is way too old. I know it won't work on that, but on my iPad, I have an 8th gen iPad, and it says that iOS 16 is good for that. Do you think it's far enough along with their testing the iOS 16 that I should download it?
Yes, but again, I'll warn you to make sure you do a backup before you do the download.
Okay,
But yes, I would not I would not hesitate to download iOS 16.
Okay, but get a backup. Okay, I'll look into how to do a backup. I don't
Okay.
normally do a backup because all my equipment, all my platforms are linked together. So I figure if it's not on one, it's on something else. Does that
A lot of
sound
people think that
advisable?
way. What I do with my iPad and my iPhone, when I plug them in to charge them overnight, I have an iCloud account, and it's a free account up to, I can't remember, 500 megabit or something. So if you don't need more than that for your backup, when you plug in at nighttime and recharge your iPad, it will automatically back up to the iCloud.
It
Ah,
it
okay.
syncs, it syncs.
It syncs it. And I chose to back up all my photos. So I ran out of that 500 megabit and I had to buy the 50 gigabit. But you know what? It cost me 99 cents a month. I'm not going to complain about that.
Me neither.
So when I plug in my iPhone and my iPad, they automatically sync to the backup. Then if my phone breaks, gets stolen, or I buy a new phone, all I have to do is log in and restore it from my backup, and I've got everything I had before.
Okay.
Can you do that from iTunes?
I'm sorry?
Can you do that from iTunes, Jerry? Like we used to?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
It's
Bernie?
possible. I haven't looked at iTunes for years.
Okay, Bernie, get
I have
a, unmute.
Two questions. On the 16, how much more power do you think it's using on your battery? Did they increase the battery to help with all these extra programs, apps?
Not that I'm aware of. And I have found since upgrading to 16, if I use my phone quite a bit during the day, if I'm traveling around town running errands or sitting at the coffee shop BSing with my friends, in the evening, occasionally I have to plug my phone in just to put a real quick 20% charge on it to get me through the night. I do
And-
charge my iPhone. Yeah, I do charge my iPhone and my iPad every night.
One more question. I think I'm having a problem with my phone with the battery itself. If you keep a battery charged, your phone charged overnight and it's over 100% and you're still plugged in, does that age the battery?
No,
Some
it does
people told
not.
me yes.
Well, I think it depends a little bit on the charger, but if you're using an Apple charger, I'm going to say no, it does not.
Okay.
It'll go into a trickle charge or something. If it needs a charge, it'll charge it. If it doesn't, it'll shut down.
Okay.
You
And
can
one of
go
the
to,
one of the new features of iOS 16, I think, I can't remember what they call it, clean charging or something like that.
yeah,
And it would
optimize.
almost be, yeah, it optimizes the charge so it will not ruin your battery.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if any of you need a new battery for your iPhone or your iPad, I have found, and I have heard from numerous people, there's a company called Batteries Plus Bulbs, I think it is now. But it
Yeah,
used to be just
battery and
called
bulbs.
Batteries Plus.
Yep.
Yeah,
we've
they
got
do a
them.
great job replacing batteries.
Excellent. Excellent. We got a couple around the place here.
Now remember, the phone also have varying size batteries. They get larger, you know, it puts more weight on the unit. And also my iPhone 13 Pro Max, if you go to your settings in battery, you'll see the battery health area, which will tell you which programs or whatever or apps are using the most battery that you have. And mine's, for example, is at 99%. That's not serious, but when it gets down to 30 or 50% or less, then you should consider replacing the battery because it's going to wear down the unit much quicker. And Apple now has a program where you can actually take it out to somebody rather than just to an Apple store. You know, you're allowed to take it out and have a battery replaced there and have the similar warranty. Is that accurate, Jerry?
It is. You're absolutely right. When you go to that battery health, it will tell you, even when you think your phone or iPad is fully charged, it will say, okay, you've recharged to 86%. That's telling you that you've lost 14% of the charge ability. So when he's talking about dropping down to 50%, yeah, it's a good time to replace your battery if you intend to keep that phone.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, our iPhones have dropped to 78% with a warning on them that that's pretty low for them. And we were just considering getting new batteries set up for that. And then we realized that the phones we have are being outdated as of the end of the year. And so it doesn't make sense to spend $60 or so on a battery. It makes more sense to put the money into new phones altogether.
Exactly, you're exactly right.
Mhm.
And I've got an iPhone 12 and I didn't go to the 13 or 14 yet. I happen to be diabetic, and I know that Apple's coming out with a glucose tester on your wrist, so I won't have to stab myself several times a day. When that comes out, I will upgrade my phone if I have to remortgage my house to do it. But
Well,
so you have to keep an eye on those things. Apple's phones are getting a bit pricey.
isn't this National Diabetes Month? I think it is.
I don't know if it is or not.
November. Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, my husband's diabetic too, but he doesn't mind the testing.
Sometime when you guys need another speaker, you need a presentation, I should give you my, you should tell me you want my iWatch presentation. We'll talk a lot about things like that.
Okay, we can do that.
Anybody over 55 should have an iWatch, in my opinion, but someday if you need another presentation, Barry, let me know.
How about December 2nd?
Send me a text and let me look at that. I know I've
Yeah.
got some in December.
We're
Yeah.
looking
Just
to
amazing.
fill our.
AppSug keeps us pretty busy sometimes, so. But I know
Right.
that I've got some presentations in December already.
So
But
tell
the
us some,
iWatch is an excellent presentation, whether you have one or not. It's a good presentation, see.
so tell us about, you're the president of what now? What organization? APCUG Club?
It's I live in an adult community in Mesa, Arizona called Sunland Springs Village. And our group is called the Technology Group. And we're about 2,800 homes in our village. Some are duplex condos, some are single family homes and so forth. The only thing I miss is seeing the ocean. Yeah, but we have some beautiful things in the desert, and I actually love it out there.
Great. Bernie, if you finished, lower your hand, please. Turn it off so we know the question has been answered.
I was looking at my hand and it's down.
It is? Well, it's showing up on mine.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Jerry, very much. And by the way, from today's viewers, I'm probably normally your nearest neighbor because I'm normally in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But
Oh, are
now
you? Okay.
I'm in Florida now.
Do any
I
of
love
you,
Santa Fe.
do any of you have to change not to change your clocks back on when we go to Eastern Standard Time on Sunday at 2 a.m.? Is anyone going to stay on that all year? I know that's being proposed in Congress, but I don't think it'll pass. I don't know why, but a lot of things.
I wish it
don't
would,
seem to-
because in Arizona, we don't change times ever. So, and I really love that. And I can tell you that I spend my summers in Iowa with my kids and grandkids. Whether the federal government goes without the change or not, I think Iowa's going to stay on the same time zone as well. So if we get a patchwork of states that are saying we are no longer going on daylight savings time or whatever, I think it's going to force the government to do the entire country that way.
All right, Jerry,
my-
thank you very much. I don't want to
Hey,
keep
guys, thank you much. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's breakfast time for me, so.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God
Okay.
bless.
Very
Bye for
informative.
now.
So much.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna jump in now.
Okay, folks. We really got I got a great deal out of that presentation. I hope you did too.
Indeed.
He's going to
Indeed.
send me the PDF, so don't have it mark down anything or write down anything. You'll be able to work that step by step on your phone. remember, just because an iOS comes out means all the features will be available across on all of the earlier phones. Because when a new update comes out, and this one I think was 3.1 gigabytes, that's pretty substantial, took a long time to download. Set it to download overnight, on your settings. And
Thank
that's
you.
better off, and make sure it's charged up to at least 50%. Usually when you get an update, it will go across all devices. Usually the Apple TV, as well as the Apple Watch, as well as the iPad, and as well as the iPhone. The reason the iPad OS 16 was delayed is because of the feature of Stage Manager and things like that, that they wanted to get right out of the box. You don't need all the features, in my opinion, on all these phones. That's a big problem for people even trying to learn it, is you're trying to separate the wheat from the chaff, and that's very difficult. Just use the ones that you're familiar with, that you're comfortable with. Some of these things that Jerry mentioned do cost money. I think some of the apps like Flighty have in-app purchases. That means it's so many features will be free, and if you want the premium version, you have to pay for the full app. I think in some cases that's not necessary. There are many other free applications there that will do the
Your
job
bank
for you.
your bank account's gonna drain.
That's right. That's right. So
Yeah, Barry, how do you get that 99 cents for that, storage deal? How is that? How does he get that?
you have to look it up on Apple. Just go to Apple site and or look at iCloud and see what's there for storage.
Yeah,
If you
well,
go
I
to
never
your,
saw a 99-cent deal. I talked to Apple people the last week, and they just said it's from $3 to $10. Those are the two tiers that they have.
no, it's 99 cents to get 50 gigs in iCloud.
Well,
That is
they never
correct.
say that.
Mhm.
Yes, 99 cents, absolutely.
And
I've never
that's
seen
worth
that
it.
offer.
And it's worth it because, you're going to need to do backups and all this other stuff and storage. See if you need to. Go to your iPhone storage settings and see what is actually being consumed right there as you use it. Okay, let me tell you what's coming up in the next 2 weeks. That will be, let's see, November's, wow, 16th. Don't wait for Black Friday, by the way, to come to Thanksgiving. There are Black Friday sales already out all over the stores. You name it, Target, Best Buy, all of them are trying to get rid of that inventory for winter that they picked up during the pandemic and now can't get rid of. So they're trying to get the new season's clothing and whatever else and toys and electronics in. And in doing so, they have to discount the earlier items heavily. So it's your chance to get a tremendous bargain. Amazon's also got it going on. There's no such thing now as it's totally dynamic as time goes by. In 2 weeks, we're going to have a great presentation from Bob Ansett, who is the creator, he's the Creative Digital Initiatives at the Broward County Library, the Creation Station in Fort Lauderdale. His presentations were so popular here when we had the classroom that they were out the door trying on goggles and everything else. He's introducing a brand new robot. He's going to talk about the latest things in robotics and artificial intelligence. We are trying to bring you the most trending technology. That's our job. What I'm going to be doing in 2 weeks is probably be sending you a poll or using a poll. I want you to choose 2 subjects that you would like us to cover, maybe on December 2nd if Jerry's available. I'm going to check and see. He did such a good job today. He has a presentation on Apple Health that is distinct from the one that Ron Brown gives, and Ron Brown is a physician. But he has one from a different approach. You can see how comprehensive he is, and maybe we'd be able to get a live demo. So we're trying to do a lot of things to keep the club going. Remember that I have another article coming out in the November Reporter, also in Century Village. You can access the CVE radio station where I have done an interview last year. They broke it into 4 parts. It was so extensive. There's many ways to reach us. We're going to be, with Pete, we're going to be doing a new flyer that's going to go into the Century Village staff office. Like all the others, we're going to try and put 30 or 40 in next week. And that will be some that you can distribute to fellow Century Village residents. I think a lot of people are not aware that we're still in business. And as far as Zoom is concerned, I think if I took a consensus right now, I think many people would feel more comfortable with this format. And with that, I want to wish you all, please remember to, Marcia says, I spent $10 for 128 gigabyte storage and iOS 16 won't work on older stuff. And that's because the older stuff requires more advanced processors, as Jerry said, more advanced speed, more advanced things that will not work. However, remember you have a backup phone or something all the time that you can use, even though if it doesn't have a SIM card, you can still use it with cellular. I have an old iPhone 11 that doesn't have any SIM card in it, so it can't be used to make and receive calls. But if I'm in any wireless place and I don't want to be bothered, I can just take that phone with me. And as long as I can get on the internet and receive a signal, it's a second phone that I don't have to get rid of. In fact, you might need it in an emergency. So given that, I want to thank all of you for attending. It looks like you're all healthy and well, and that's the most important thing to me. Don't forget, turn your clocks back 1 hour Saturday night or on Sunday. Please get out and vote if you have not already done so. It's an extremely important thing to do, not because of politics, but because of your franchise as a citizen of the United States or whatever. Do the right thing, say the right thing, and my love to all of you. Until we meet again, this is Barry Cowan, host in my 18th year as president of the Deerfield Beach Computer Club, saying, so long, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Barry.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for everything.
Very much. Have a nice weekend, everyone.
Check our
Good program
You
today.
too.
Good program.
check our YouTube site tomorrow. You'll see the video of this up and running. I'm going to try and download it tonight and upload it tomorrow. It does take some time. And when Jerry Rogan sends me that PDF, I will send it to you specially, and I will post it on our handouts. So
Thank you.
long.
Take care. God bless.
You
Nice
too.
weekend. Bye,
too.
everyone.